So boom, yesterday I was in a car with a brother of mine and we were on the way to rehearsal. We both serve in the orchestra at our church. And he said something that stuck with me, y'all. Such a good word. And I don't even think that he knew how much I needed to hear that at that time. What he said spoke to me and freed me, honestly, from a cycle life I feel like I've been stuck in. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. Yo, what's goody, y'all? It's your boy PB, also known as Paul Bernard II. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been a full-time content creator and entrepreneur for about the last 5 years. Glory to God. Now, I don't care if you're in your 20s, I don't care if you're in your teens, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I don't even care if you're under 10 years old, but I do think you should be watching social media with adult supervision. I don't know what I'm supposed to say there. Anyways, all I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter how old you are. I feel like no matter what, we all have experienced a time in life where we have felt stuck. In my experience, it's looked like I know that I'm being called to something, or that I'm supposed to be doing something, or that I have the ability to do something, an assignment that God has given me, or just being diligent with what God has put in my hands. And I just feel like I can't get over a certain hump in life. I just feel like I'm stuck in this cycle and I keep going on and on again. Time is moving forward, but I can't seem to break out of this cycle. Now, if that resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, then consider this analogy. This is what my brother told me yesterday. Imagine that you're about to go on a hike, right? You're about to go and try to scale a mountain. You try to overcome a mountain. You know that it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be tough, but you know that you can do it. And at the beginning of this hike, you realize that there's a small pebble that's in your shoe, but nothing significant, nothing that you feel like is worth you stopping, getting outside of your mindset, actually taking the time to bend down, take off your shoe, take the pebble off, put it back on, and then get back in mindset to keep going. So you just continue on. And what happens is, as you continue on, that little pebble, that little rock in your shoe that you ignored now gains more significance because it starts to cause pain in your foot. And even then, you're still so focused on the mountain and on the trail and on the task you have before you, this big mountain that you've been focused on for so long, that you continue to ignore this little pain that you have in your foot. You may have even told yourself that, man, I know that doing this was gonna cause some pain. This is just a pain of progress. I'm gonna overcome it. It's gonna be good. But then as you continue to go on, that pain in your foot transfers into your Achilles heel, and then it transfers to your calves, and it expands to your knees, and then your legs, and pretty soon, before you know it, your whole body has to stop and you can't even move on because you ignored that little pebble that was in your shoe from the beginning. And I think the point that I'm trying to get across is that the mountain itself, although it is a tough thing to overcome, that wasn't the thing that stopped you from succeeding. It was that little rock, that little seemingly insignificant thing that kept you from succeeding and overcoming that mountain. Now, I'm telling you, I could preach a whole message off of that analogy right there, but being a man of God, I have to take it to the Bible. It has to be backed up by the Bible. And I feel like this passage I'm about to read to you is so timely. And man, this is what has given me such just energy to overcome this cycle of life that I feel like I've been stuck in. So let me read this. This comes out of, where does it come out of, man? Where my verse at? Okay. It comes out of Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1-3. And I'm reading out of NIV today. So it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, and the Greek translation, the Greek word for cloud is technically like a great audience of witnesses. So just a little context before, Hebrews chapter 11 is famously known for what we call the Hall of Faith. It just lists out all these people throughout the Bible who were extreme characters of faith. We're talking about Abraham, we're talking about Noah, we're talking about Moses, all these characters, right? So then he says, therefore, since we are surrounded by these great amount of people throughout history who have shown us what faith is, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. In another translation, it says the author and finisher of our faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. Man, it's a lot, but let's break this down real quick, right? So it says, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. That sin or that thing that hinders you, that's that rock that is in your shoe that you continue to ignore. You're focused on the grand idea, the grand scheme, strategy, the dream and calling of your life, the mountain that you have to overcome. But I'm telling you, you can't overcome the mountain if you have a rock, just a nagging little snare in your foot that you ignore continually. That is what is holding you back. And I think also what's significant about this verse is that firstly, he says, throw off everything that hinders. So we have to understand that it's not always just sin. We have to discern between what is hindering us in our life and what isn't hindering us in our life. The thing about walking this life with Christ is that we have to be super self-conscious, self-aware. We have to constantly analyze our steps and most importantly, submit everything we do to the Lord for him to reveal to us how we can do better at this life that he has given us to steward. And if you are not doing that and you're so focused on your path and what you have to overachieve and your bodily, physical capabilities and everything about you and your intelligence and your resume and credibility, rather than focusing on what is acceptable to Christ, which is to do righteousness, to throw off what is entangling you, what is snaring you, what is tripping you up, what is causing you pain and keeping you from progressing at the rate that you're supposed to progress on. Think about that analogy again. If you had taken that little pebble out of your shoe at the beginning, at that point, man, you're off to the races. You can literally just push forward. It's just you, yourself, and I, and that little mountain that's in the way for you to actually overcome and achieve success. So whatever is hindering you in your life right now, whatever sin constantly and so easily entangles you, I'm sure you know what it is, because I'm telling you, I know what it is in my life. If we don't throw that off first, how can we expect to continue on, persevere, and eventually overcome and conquer the mountain? Next part of this passage says, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame. Jesus endured the cross, the pain, the trauma, the tragedy of the cross, being beaten, being mocked, being persecuted, being killed, tormented, tortured, all these things. He endured it because he understood that it was worth what was coming after it. And I think so often we have to analyze the pain of progress in our life, the pain of being committed to God. Because Jesus told us that if he's going to be persecuted, surely we will be persecuted as well. We're going to endure pain. There's even pain in just throwing off sin, just denying our fleshly desires and saying, no, I'm not going to watch this movie. I'm not going to watch porn. I'm not going to masturbate. I'm not going to hit this girl up, hit this dude up. I'm not going to smoke this weed. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to gossip. I'm not going to, whatever the ways of the world is, whatever our flesh desires to do, even that causes pain within us. But to be able to endure that pain and to persevere, even just through the tragedies of life that come our way because we have chosen to walk in the way of the Lord and walk this life with Christ, to be able to endure that, we have to understand that there is a joy set after that. There is a joy that is worth it to endure that pain. In the same way that Jesus endured the cross and all of that, he could have easily just said, you know what, I'm sick of humans. I'm not doing this. I'm going back to heaven. I'm not dying. I'm not getting beaten or whipped, anything. But he endured that because he understood what the reward of enduring that pain was. And lastly, he sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. We always have to remember that Jesus doesn't ask us to do anything that he did not do himself. And when we truly understand the story of Jesus and the sacrifice that he made for us, that is the greatest reminder in times that we feel stuck in a cycle of life to not give up in the battles that we're facing, to not give in to the cycle of life, to not give in our faith. And it's not as easy as just being complacent with where we are, because in the same way, like when you're working out in the gym, if you don't go to the gym for 4, 5, 6 months, you're not going to stay stagnant. It's not like you can leave one day, come back 5 months and hit the same amount of weight that you did 5 months ago. No, your muscle capacity slowly diminishes because you're not keeping up with what is required to maintain. So in the same way, our faith is a muscle. If you're not constantly exercising it, it's not going to grow. In fact, it's going to diminish. And you're going to end up more and more distant from God. And I feel like that's the space of life that I've been in recently. Not even that I was doing it just ignorantly. I understood that I was distant from God, and I was honestly complacent where I was because I was allowing myself to not fight, not put in the work that I knew it was required to be close to God. It takes work. It is a battle day in and day out to be conscious that sin is trying to entangle you and sin is trying to trip you up, that there are things that are trying to hinder you, to always be on guard and to protect yourself and to have an immense amount of self-control. It takes work. And if we don't actually acknowledge that, we don't put in that work, then by default, we're gonna fall behind. So like I said, I hope that this encouraged you. I hope that this word touched you in some way. That analogy hit me deep. If it's not for you, I'm telling you, it's at least for me. I just wanted to share this with you. I often try to say this in my videos that my words, they are not going to solve your problems in life. This video right here, you're still gonna have battles. This isn't the last battle that you're gonna face. This isn't the last hump in life that you're gonna have to overcome. But often, a good word can provide you enough encouragement and enough hope to just get through this battle that you're facing right now. And that's what this analogy did for me. It helped me to get through the rest of yesterday and helped me to start this day with a little bit more energy and passion, to remind myself that Jesus endured something that he's asking me to endure as well, and that he is the example of what a life, a good life, a perfect life looks like, and that's what I have to strive for. With all that being said, I love y'all very much. I hope that this encouraged you. I hope that this challenged you. Like always, please make sure to like, share, subscribe. Please make sure to comment below. I'll be reading everyone's comments. I don't have time to respond, but I love to see how people are laying down their sins, their temptations, their vulnerabilities, their insecurities, leaving it out there. Some people are coming, liking people's comments, encouraging each other, praying over each other. It is beautiful. Man, let's build an atmosphere for Christ to come and dwell and do his work, man. Continue to hit the comment section to encourage one another and to be open about what you're dealing with right now in life. I love y'all very much. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.